Welcome to another edition of the Living Large Theater Podcast. I am Billy Santiago, along with my good friend of 37 years, Gary Rodriguez, super producer, Noe Ayala. Reach out to us at livinglargetheater@gmail.com. We're available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Prime, and now on the YouTube channel, hashtag Living Large Theater Podcast. Reach out to us if you want to become a sponsor of this fine program, 956-451-1633. Rate our podcast, share with a friend, leave us a comment, and more importantly, hit that subscribe button.
Thank you, Billy, and welcome. Thank you. You had one
job, Noe. One job.
Okay, now he's producer. Not so we'll take the super away for today. We'll give it back to him.
Got to earn that S, buddy.
Hey, Billy, thank you very much.
Wait. First, before we start, it's not YouTube. It's YouTube.
You know what? I figured that out, man. You know, I'm so used to putting the U instead of you.
In Billy's defense,
I'm lazy.
I used to say YouTubes. Now, but then I figued out it's YouTube.
Hey, I'm like George W., man. I used to say internets, you know? What the hell?
And nuclear.
Anyway.
Oh, George W., boy, that guy, you could laugh at him all day long. I remember he said, well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and shame on somebody else.
Oh, good.
Hey, this is Season 5 of the Living Large Theater Podcast. Admission is always free. All you need is a sense of humor and a thirst for entertainment. I think we have it here today with a great guest that we'll be introducing in just a moment. But first of all, it's hurricane season. Season for 2025 kicked off on June the 1st. And
so how many big-name hurricanes are we having, Gary? Looks like you know your stuff.
They said
here.
5. I mean,
5?
They're never right. Come on. They're never right. It's either 12 or we get 2. It's either 2, we get 12. They don't know. They're guessing, just like you and I. But you and I lived through at B104, Hurricane Gilbert, 1987. It
I'll
rolled
never forget that.
Yeah, and we ended up having to stay there at the...
that was known as the Beanie Weenie Hurricane.
I did not know that.
And
I was there.
We had cans and cans of Beanie Weenies to eat over 3 days.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought
And that's all we had to eat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wasn't there for that.
And
No
smelly,
Diddy.
And the Smelly Socks Hurricane, too, man.
But no baby oil. Hey,
Anyway.
listen, it's a serious subject. We want to make sure, we're here to entertain and have fun and laugh and all, but it is serious. It does cause death. It does cause destruction, and we just want to make sure that you know that hurricane season's upon us. There may be a hurricane, probably at least a tropical storm, and I would say for as long as we've been in a drought down here, we need a lot of rain to refill the reservoir, refill the river, and refill all the cattle ponds that people have on their property down here. Because let's face it, the agriculture and livestock are still a big part of the economy down here. So I think the one thing we talk about is Hurricane Gilbert, 87.
88.
No, 87. I have it right here. Thank you.
No, it was 88 because I got here in February of 88. It was that following fall.
Oh, my goodness. Let me see what we got here. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dude, you're right for once. September 17th, 1988. So we had Gilbert. Katrina hit New Orleans.
2005.
Caused a lot of destruction, a lot of death. And the big one that I can remember recently, 2017, unless it was 2018, is Hurricane Harvey, which caused a lot of damage.
That tore my mother's and dad's rooftop.
Yeah, it was bad.
Off their house. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It was terrible. A lot of people lost a lot of property. The damages were in the billions. My barbecue pit got thrown into my car, and I still have that dent, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. It was vicious, and we lost power, I think, for about 3 days up where I live. But we survived, thank God. Everything's good. Just want to make sure everybody's aware of what could happen. So let me tell you right now, a couple of suggestions that we have for your hurricane survival kit. And look, let me tell you, don't be that guy that expects everybody else to take care of you and your family because you failed to prepare, Get your kit together.
And your kit should include what, Gary?
Well, your kit should include, and I'm coining that. I'm phrasing the trademarking that. Get your kit together. Okay. Water, 1 gallon per person for several days for drinking and sanitation. Food, at least enough food for several days. Battery-powered or hand-cranked radio and weather radio with a tone alert. Flashlight, obviously. First aid kit. Extra batteries. A whistle to signal for help. Dust mask.
Wait. A whistle.
A whistle. A whistle. Yeah. I mean, if you're stuck somewhere and nobody can hear you or see you, you need
So you're
a
gonna
whistle.
blow a whistle? Why can't you yell at somebody?
You know,
Help me! I'm falling.
There were people in North Carolina last year with Helene who were found only because they were smart enough to have a whistle.
I did not know that, Gary. I learn
Yes.
something new every day.
I
from
do
you,
too.
man.
I do
My
too.
God.
Okay, plastic sheeting, scissors, duct tape, prescription medications, non-prescription medications, prescription eyeglasses, contact solutions, instant formula for the babies, bottles, diapers, pet food, cash or traveler's checks, important documents. Some of that shit you're not going to grab. You're just going to say, let's get out of here, get what we got, and let's go. A sleeping bag or warm blanket for each person, complete change of clothing for your climate, and sturdy shoes, a fire extinguisher, and matches in a waterproof
So
container.
how many days do you go with the same pair of chonas? That's what I want to know, Gary. Is there a
There's a formula.
Well, I don't know. We should be asking you, brother.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Well, look, there's a formula, but only people who have been in the Navy know that.
Okay.
Yeah, because, Navy guys are out at sea all the time. The captain or the admiral comes on board, and he says, gentlemen, I've got good news for you today. We're going to have a change of underwear. And they're all like, yeah. Johnson, you change with Davis. Davis, you change with
TMI, man.
So you
TMI.
forgot, is there any beer, alcohol in that list?
Probably not. I didn't,
And you didn't mention toilet paper either, Gary.
That's an obvious, but you don't really need paper. What you need is a little vegetation,
Okay.
water to rinse your hands off. That's a good point. That's a good point. Look, be safe. Hurricane season 2025 is here. Want to thank our sponsors, White Sands Marina in Port Isabel, Texas, Arnold and Corina. They've been nothing but gracious to us. They just extended their partnership with the Living Large Theater
Appreciate
podcast.
that.
And we couldn't be happier with them. They're in Port Isabel. Cars go by there all the time to get to the island, but I'm going to tell you, it's worth your while to stop there, spend a couple of nights there. You have access to little kayaks, the little paddle boats.
Yep.
You have access to
Some
about
floaties.
50 boat captains. They have a great pool. They have a great restaurant and an awesome bar with Johnny Barrera, the bartender extraordinaire. It's all there at White Sands
Great
Marina.
Bloody Marys, from what I understand.
Yes.
Not that I drink
And
them.
we just bought a boat. I don't know if Gary told you that. We just bought a boat, man.
I did not sign off on that. I did not sign off on
No,
that.
seriously. I saw that boat. I saw the picture.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
very good.
yes.
Hey, if you need a boat, call Arnold Flores down at
Yes.
White Sands
Yes.
Marina. And if you want to make your summer reservations, it's WSNNSuites.com. I also want to thank Ward Thomas and Majestic Studios. They are our corporate sponsor. If you have a song you want to make into a hit and make some real money with your music, do it here at Majestic Studios, and Ward Thomas is your contact. Also, Fred Rodriguez, a Texas sportsman, he has been recognized by the Texas Senate as the premier hunting and fishing guide in South Texas. Thank you very much to all of our sponsors. And one more time, for the hurricane season, get your kit together. There you go. Time now to introduce our very special guest, and we don't want to waste his time. He is a very special man. He's running a huge operation right here in McAllen, Texas proper, and his name is Lucas Fox, and he is running Fox Packaging and Fox Solutions. Let's get a big round of applause for Lucas Fox. And he did bring his father, my good friend Keith Fox, but Keith is going to leave it all up to Lucas. Lucas, thank you so much for being here today at the Living Large Theater podcast.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I'm looking forward to this interview.
Yeah. Hey, you're pretty young to be running all that. You have a lot of responsibility, but you're also primed for it. You and I spoke last week, and I was able to just look into your eyes and see your commitment and your passion and your love for not only what you do, but the people that help you do it. And it all started with a gentleman named Kenneth Fox. That is your grandfather. Can you give us a thumbnail description of how Mr. Fox started Fox Packaging, and then we'll get into what it is now?
So, to sum up a very long story, Kenny ran his company with an iron fist. He started in the late 50s, early 60s, kind of going off onto his own and looking for what he was going to call home for his family. At that time, I think he had 3 or 4 kids and was headed south from St. Louis, Missouri. He had kind of parted ways with his wife's family, and he had been exposed to the textile industry, didn't know where he was going to call home yet, but he didn't want to work for his in-laws' family, so ended up headed south. Saw a huge opportunity in the citrus industry and the citrus presence in South Texas. South Texas offered two things: the climate for the citrus, that you could put it on the shelf, whereas you can't in the east side where we get a lot of our juice fruit. And you also saw that the irrigation canals here to transport water throughout the district was much not like anything else.
Yeah.
So moving water around here was good for what was back then almost 120,000 acres of farmland just in general. Today we're probably down to almost 35 or 40,000 acres, if even that anymore. But anyway, so Kenny brings his family down here, has a kid when he moves down to South Texas. They're at 5 kids now, and he's looking for something to start. He needs to provide for his family. Keith is about 15, 16 years old, and is basically enlisted to be Kenny's right hand and left hand and everything else. And so he starts selling. He was selling field bags with burlap, not to get into the details of it, basically for drying onions in the field after harvest. Then he gets into bulk bags, starts selling citrus bags for grapefruits and oranges. You see a lot of those on the side of the road, orange and red, yellow and red, bags you see hanging at the fruit stands.
Like the webbing bags?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see like a 25-pound bag or a 10-pound bag of oranges, grapefruits on the side of the road. So
And that's y'all?
This is Kenneth
Wow.
Fox Supply back then, which transitioned to what it is today, Fox Packaging. But yes, that was Kenny Fox back in the day. So he's making bulk bags off the tail of selling burlap bags, and starts making these mesh bags and just really gets a hold of it down here in the valley. And he starts to get exposed to other industries that are familiar with farmers down in South Texas, and starts to make a network for himself through Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, a little bit of Utah, but not too far from home. At this point, he's driving everywhere. So he starts getting exposed to some onion growers and some potato growers, and while all this is going on, Keith and the boys are now coming up in age.
The sons.
Correct.
Keith is your father.
Keith is my father.
Okay.
And Keith has been working for Kenny since he was probably 16, 17 years old. Went to school for a little bit, didn't work out. Kenny asked him to come back home. So now we're 18, 19 years old. Keith had not gone to school, decided he was going to work for his father, and then since has been. Keith just had his 68th birthday, so
Attaboy, Keith. Happy birthday. Happy
and,
birthday.
He's been there for a while. But so Kenny starts making these bags, and then fast forward to Keith and Craig and Aaron kind of joining the organization formally, and they introduced the consumer pack, which kind of put them on the map for flexible packaging solutions in the country. They start to play with this idea of having a bag that can breathe, and not literally breathe, but through a combination of film, polyfilm, plastic film, and mesh netting in the back. The product in the bag has the availability or the opportunity to actually breathe, which could increase shelf life. And this is 25, 30 years ago, and this really revolutionizes the packaging industry on the consumer side, because now not only the grocery stores, but the farmers are seeing payback from having their shelf on the shelf for a little bit longer, and obviously the grocers are getting huge advantages from that. So that puts them on the map. They have a patent for the bag, and they rode that for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And so now we're into the third generation. I joined the company back in 2015. My cousin Jacob probably back in 11 or 12, if not a little bit earlier. I'm 35. My cousin's 37. My little brother works there. His little brother works there. Into the third generation. Mr. Fox just left us about a year and a half ago. And
may he rest in peace.
Yes, may he rest in peace. My grandmother, 91, still there every day. We lost one of my uncles.
What's she like? What's your grandmother like? Is she works?
She works very hard. She
still goes to work
every day, signs all the checks, looks at all the checks. She wants to know everything. Why are we spending money here? Why did we write that check there?
That's why you've been so successful over the years.
Why didn't we look at this before we paid it? I mean, she's on top of everything. She is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she is very much involved, right in the middle of the main office. I mean, everybody's crossing through, and she's in the heart of the intersection. So, again, not to make this too long-winded, but how did Kenny run his company? He ran it knowing that if it didn't work, he wasn't going to have a family because he wasn't going to be able to survive.
Yeah.
He was looking for a place to to be able to raise his family. And every decision he made was a matter of make or break. And that's how he ran it till the day. He was at the office probably 2 or 3 weeks before he passed away, because that was all he knew.
Yeah.
To show up to work, make sure nobody needed anything. If he needed to impart any suggestions, he would be part of the conversation. And then he'd go home mid-afternoon and wait till the next day. And so I'm sure the way he ran it from the beginning was a little more intense, as Keith would probably put it, for lack of a better term. But his level of involvement never faded. I mean, he was just always involved in everything.
Now, when we say worldwide companies, everybody says we have a worldwide company. Y'all are worldwide. In what respect are you worldwide?
So today we send product into Canada. We have business in Mexico. We do business in South America. And we entered into a joint venture about 15 years ago where a company paid us basically they signed a contract with us to make our product. So we licensed them to make our product in South Africa. So the country of South Africa is also producing our product in that territory and distributing our goods there.
You're worldwide.
Well, we're getting there. We're doing better, yes. And then Fox Solutions gives us a little bit more of that kind of profile as we enter into a lot of the European markets for the packaging of these flexible packages. So Fox Solutions is everything upstream from the bag. So when you take a piece of fruit or vegetable out, any commodity out of the ground or off of a tree or a vine, it's going through a processing stage before it ends up in a package. That package could be a tote, it could be a box, it could be a bag, it could be an RPC, it could be anything that you see at the store. Question?
No, I was just the process when they pick it from the field, they take it to your warehouse and you guys package it for them and get it out.
We don't touch any of
They
the
do all
No.
the, just the bags.
Just
all
the
we do is
bags.
the packaging and the processing equipment. So what? If you're harvesting anything, all we're doing is supplying you with the equipment to put your product in a package.
Yeah, and you said something a while ago that's really key is the shelf life. I mean, yesteryears, you could pick it and it would probably rot pretty soon.
Yeah, so that was another big kind of evolution to their packaging profile was they came up with basically a light blocking film that they integrated into their product. So now when you had a potato on the shelf, instead of the potato being exposed to the grocery store lights all day long and it pre-maturing or speeding up the maturing process, the ripening process, this film protected the potato in the bag from over-ripening too fast. So
I see.
another kind of, I guess, staple to their product as they're continuing to revolutionize this kind of flexible packaging industry they kind of introduced themselves into. So yeah, on top of the bag being able to breathe through itself from the back, it was also equipped with this kind of light blocking film. Again, not to get into the details because we speak a foreign language for a little bit, but yeah, so there's light blocking film that actually protected the product on the shelf. Absolutely, like you said, people at home that are trying to harvest their own goods or farmers and grocers trying to sell their own products.
Yeah.
So best practice, leave the stuff inside the bag.
Leave the stuff inside the bag.
Oh, that's a good point there, Noe. Way to go. Yeah, you're back to
bag.
super.
There you go. Super producer, no Ayala.
Hey,
there with the
let me ask
question.
you this, Lucas. What did Kenny think about the workforce down here? I mean, the work ethic. I mean, was he happy with it? Did he have to knock a few heads along the way with the people, not having his work ethic?
He definitely knocked a few heads along the way. Keith Fox is being one of them. But all that aside, I think he appreciated the work ethic in the valley. I mean, we think about our efforts in general, and the Hispanic population is committed to their livelihood and making sure there's food on the table for their family. And when it came to that, and you giving them a paycheck at the end of the month or at the end of the week, that was a big deal to them. And so if Kenny could promise them that his end of the bargain was going to be fulfilled, this is what I need from you, it became very dynamic very quickly. There was always going to be some rebels in the group, right? I mean, back then he was probably at 100 employees in total. A lot of it was manual labor, so he just had a lot of people there. So you're never going to have 100 people that are 100% on board. But for the majority of them, they really understood that if you do what you need to do, everything else is gravy.
Yeah.
We've got employees at the company today that have been there with us 35, 40 years. Not a huge number of them, but they're there. And we've got a ton that are in the 20s. So I mean, they've been through 3 generations of a family that has just, you know.
So
it's been a
Kenny
very
Fox
dynamic-
essentially supported through. Obviously, they had to work for it, but he supported probably hundreds or thousands of families that were able to put food on the table, pay the rent, get to work, and clothe their kids.
People complimented him all the time for being able to buy their son or daughter a vehicle, putting him in college, their family living with them adding to their homesteads. So like exactly what you're saying was fundamental, and he knew that, right? And he knew that these people that he were supposed to call employees were part of his family, and they at the beginning were providing his livelihood, knowing that he needed to provide for his family. So it was a very dynamic, fluid, back and forth relationship. He recognized that. He really loved his people. He still loves his people. Absolutely.
So you have Fox Packaging, and Fox Solutions does what? Are they independent of each other, or are they under one umbrella?
Fox Solutions today resides under the Fox Packaging umbrella, and as I was saying earlier, Fox Solutions is all the process stuff upstream from getting your product in a package. So you could have a machine that's going to unload a truck. You could have a machine that's going to dry a product similar to like an onion. You could have a machine that's going to take a machine that would be like a conveyor that's going to take it from where you offload the truck to where it's going to be put in boxes by hand. They have these lines called graders. So maybe you have a 1 pound, like a medium, a jumbo, and a colossal onion or something like that. And these machines are actually grading the difference in the sizes. So you can do that with grapefruits, onions, potatoes, oranges, lemons, limes, anything you could grade. So all of these graders and bin tippers and dryers and conveyors and baggers is all Fox Solutions, who's responsible for, like I said earlier, getting the product from the field into a package. Not necessarily a flexible bag, but into any package.
Something.
Correct.
Let me ask you this. Operation-wise, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, or would y'all work every day? Or
Right now, we're working Monday through Saturday, 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day?
24 hours
Somebody's
a day.
there.
Correct.
Making bags.
And about half the year, we'll work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We're not ever working less than 5 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Okay.
And, sometimes I would say we're going through a transition where everything was season-based on domestic commodities. So citrus, grapefruits and onions, grapefruits and oranges, and then you had potatoes and onions was predominantly in domestic market, and then everything else was being imported in general for everybody, whatever you wanted at the house, mangoes and kiwis and things that we don't grow here well. So you would have this seasonality that would peak starting in September, October, and it would tail off in March, April. And so that's when you would have these 24-hour days, 7-day weeks. And then in the summer months where we weren't growing so much domestic product, we weren't packing so much domestic product, is when you'd kind of back into like maybe 5-day weeks, 6-day weeks.
Yeah.
And now that there's so much import, to keep everything on the shelf all year long, just as important it is for the domestic goods as it for the repacks, who's importing from South America, who's importing from Mexico, who's importing from Africa, to have things on the shelf that we want that we don't grow here domestically all year long. So now you have a demand for a package all year long, whether it's a domestic packer or a repack shed packing an import good. So the variability of the seasons has shifted over the last, I would say, 10, 11, 12 years. As obviously our population has gone up, the need for goods in general has gone up, and there just being more of a flat line of demand across the year, rather than it being more focused on domestic goods and not not considering international goods.
I got you. We're talking with Lucas Fox. He's the CEO or Director of Operations at Fox Packaging Solutions. Let me ask you this. When you walk into the grocery store and you eyeball a bin full of kiwis or limes or stuff like that that's not in a bag, do you think to yourself, that should be in a bag?
I definitely think that's an opportunity. It doesn't always have to be in a bag. And I don't want to be greedy, because the real world is...
Who makes those little skinny bags that you rip off and then you throw your 6 or 7 limes in? Do y'all do those too?
We do not.
Okay.
No. That's it's another type of bag that we've just never
You guys
gotten
just
into.
do produce, right?
Well, it's not the bag is not specific to produce, but the bag that we make is not what you're calling like what you would pull off the roll and fill with like...
that. Y'all don't do that?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't.
Okay.
How's the tariff situation affected your company this year?
The only way it really affected us was a lot of fear because there was a lot of unknown.
Okay.
I think at the beginning, everybody was going crazy because nobody really knew what was going to happen.
Right, and they still don't.
And we had a tremendous amount of supply on hand already, which definitely helped us a lot.
Right.
We weren't getting anything from China, luckily at the time. We weren't getting anything from Canada, luckily. And so, for us, more than anything, was let's kind of get through this state of unknown. Everybody's panicking. Let's see what happens on the backside of these negotiations and these conversations they were going to have. And everything kind of flattened out. There was never really a big deal where we were freaking out and we didn't know if we were going to be in business anymore.
So I had a question.
Yes,
South
sir.
Texas is probably the best place to have Fox packaging here and locally, or is the best place to have it here locally? Period.
Is that a question?
Yeah, is it the best place to have it here in South Texas? Did they ever think about moving it somewhere else along the valley or anywhere else outside of the valley?
I wouldn't say. I think this is where Kenny ended up.
Mm-hmm.
This is where he built himself. He didn't have the liberty of saying, I'm going to capitalize in this market, but I'm going to reside in Houston.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to reside in New York because that's where I like to be. I don't think he had the liberty of making that decision. And so his home was, 3 or 4 minutes from the office, and he found a piece of property that was affordable. And he said, this is where I'm going to stake my ground, and I'm going to start here.
Y'all just expanded, right? You acquired some big-time property.
We just in the last year and a half, we've just picked up another almost 125,000 square feet of
Congratulations.
manufacturing floor
And
space.
it's still growing, correct? It still keeps growing.
Yeah, so
supply and
about a year and a half ago, we were at roughly 300 head count, and today we're tickling 400.
Wow.
We just went up to, like I said, we went from almost 225,000 square feet, almost 350,000 square feet now manufacturing floor space.
Congratulations.
Wow.
So we're excited. There's a tremendous amount of potential. Somebody asked me the other day, what's special about your product? And I don't think, I answered them genuinely. I don't think there's anything special about our product. Flexible packaging is flexible packaging. It's been around for a long time and it's going to be around for a long time. How you adapt to changes in market and consumer demands is what's going to make you a little bit special and set you apart.
How's technology affected your company with this AI stuff and all that?
I don't think we're not in an industry that it can largely affect us. A lot of the stuff in the office, accounting, the engineering department, a lot of the marketing stuff is where this AI idea would reside. But as far as manufacturing our operations, what's affected us at all is automation. You know, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity with robots and automation in automating processes, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I would attribute that to some AI program that I can plug into to my manufacturing floor and say, go ahead and run the plant for me. We're not there today.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we won't be there tomorrow. We're just not there today. But AI for the front office definitely has helped out as far as marketing is concerned, engineering is concerned, human resources, writing up job descriptions and work instructions and shit like that takes a long time. We were just talking about a contract the other day for a piece of equipment we have that cleans the air that we put into the atmosphere, and it's like 120 pages long. And I literally told the guys, like, just run it through this deal, man. It'll tell you what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Instead of you having to thumb through 120 pages. But
It's amazing, isn't it?
yes, I'm sure on the tech side, these guys are losing it over this AI stuff. I probably should keep up with it more. I don't.
Well,
but,
when I toured your plant, I saw that you employ a lot of automation. I mean, cutting edge automation where things are happening without somebody necessarily having to be there. And I know there are people there, but the machinery is doing a lot of the operation.
So back when Kenny started, he had people that were hand sewing bags for him. That was the process. You would get a piece of material, fold it in half, sew the bottom, sew the side, and then you had a bag. And while he was making that, he came to learn about a brand that was making automatic sewing machines. And so from one day to the next, you could see the need for 100 ladies who were hand sewing a bag going to 25 machine operators now that were making probably twice or three times as many bags a day with almost 25% of the necessary head count. So,
wow.
And so those are the kind of advancements we're seeing in the automation side. I wouldn't necessarily attribute it to AI specifically,
Yeah.
but definitely automation as it pertains to just making it less manually intensive.
So are you internationally as well to other parts of the world that you sell the bags to, or is just here in the U.S., or how does that go?
No, our product, like I said, our products throughout Canada, United States, Mexico, into Brazil, and then we've sold a license to make our product in South Africa.
Okay.
That's awesome. Let me ask you something. Not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to do that. You
always-
get to work. Describe a typical day for Lucas Fox. I mean, if it's possible, you may say I can't do that, but what do you think? What are some things you have to do to make sure the ship keeps sailing?
Well, so I'm going to preface this by saying I love being involved. I did work under my grandfather for about 11 years, and something I took away from him was just always knowing what's going on. So why do I preface that? I have a cadence of meetings that I go to on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Some are weekly, some are monthly. But let's just say I check in about 7:30 in the morning. I'll make sure I don't have any urgent emails that I need to address. By 8:15, 8:30, I've kind of like gone through that. I usually have operations check-ins in the morning between 8:30 and 10. And I'm meeting one-on-one with my managers just to make sure there's nothing, no alarms going off. They don't need anything. There's nothing on the horizon that we need to get ready for. We'll go into production meetings twice a week, usually about 11:30. Production meetings going on for about an hour. We're calling in, our sales director's usually calling in wherever they're at, and we're checking in with sales and service and the operations and the materials department. We're making sure that we're doing our part as a supplier to the sales team of Fox Packaging. We want to just make sure that we're doing the best that we can. At the same time, we're addressing any quality issues that are on the horizon. Is anybody missing anything they need right now from us to make sure they have what they need? Get into the afternoon, and I usually want to check in with the directors, my peers, make sure that Keith and Aaron don't need anything. There's no big projects we need to be working on. If there are, what's our status, and what are we missing to just kind of take the next step? And that'll usually get us into the tail end of the day. Always cruising around the plant. I'll slip in a little 20-minute, 15-minute shots where I can walk over to Building 6, see what's going on, walk over to the printing department, see what's going on, say hi to the employees, love doing that, kind of through the end of the day while I got some time. And then I'll usually jam out between 4:30 and 5:30, depending on what the afternoon's looking like.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the makeup of my day is just making sure that I am kind of up to speed as what's going on. There's no surprises. And then focusing on big projects that we're working on behind the scenes for Keith and Aaron to make sure that we keep growing this company.
My tour guide for the tour was Keith Fox, and I realized walking through this plant where there's, I don't know, 100 people working, nobody freaked out when they saw him. You know, a lot of times when people see the boss, they're like, come on. But I realized right away that they don't look at him as a threat, you know, that he is everybody was very kind to him, and, you know, nobody stopped working, but nobody started working, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in corporate business in America, the boss shows up and people start doing backflips inside and out and
Trying to show off.
Yeah, trying to show
Sure. The Keith, all the boys have always, including Mr. Fox, have always made it a habit to just cruise the floor, shake hands.
Yeah.
How are you? How have you been? How's your family?
Let me ask you this. You mentioned sales. Noe has a tracking device that we know where people are that are listening to the Living Large Theater podcast. Not all of them are from here or around here. A lot of them are worldwide. So if somebody is not here and they're hearing this podcast and they think, I need bags, how do they find your salespeople? Or in addition to that, how do your salespeople find people? They don't just sit around the valley, do they?
So there's a couple of things. Foxbag.com, our website, info@foxbag.com for emails. Foxbag.com is going to kind of give you a really good idea of everything that's going on in the world of Fox Packaging, what we do, how we do it, when we do it, who to reach out to, who the team is. But we still have a landline, 956-682-6176. You can call the landline
awesome,
right now.
man.
The receptionist is going to pick up.
Oh, you
and
have a
she's gonna-
receptionist too,
and
huh?
she's going to
Okay.
pass you to one of the sales guys or a customer service representative. Right now, you can call that number.
Y'all recently had a job fair. Did you find any
We
good
did.
candidates?
Oh, we had a very successful job fair. Yeah, we
that's
had
incredible.
Noe,
200
you missed out, Noe.
200 people showed up, and then probably we had about 85 applicants. It was
Really?
pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
was-
It's good to hear.
We teamed up with, what was it, TWC, Texas Workforce
Okay.
Commission.
Okay, yeah.
And they helped us, get everything set up, and it was really nice.
Hey, Lucas, what big project are you guys working on now that you're able to talk about briefly?
It's all big.
So in acquiring the 2 new buildings, we are introducing this new kind of business model where we're harboring floor stock. So we're going to offer floor stock. So if you want to place an order with me and you want to say you want to order 500,000 bags, but you only have room for 100,000 bags today, I can produce your bags for you, and I'll keep them on the floor for you. And as you're ready, I'll kind of piecemeal them out to you. So that was a big deal for us. We just got a new machine online. It's called a laminator. This is a new product that we've never done in the past. So it gets us into different markets that we weren't producing before. And then along with the laminator, a slitter that's got laser capabilities for microwavable bags, steamable bags. We're getting into frozen fruits as far as proteins. We started selling bags to people packing hams. So some of these are new things that are coming online. Some stuff on the product side and some on the innovation side as we're just kind of expanding our opportunity there.
Have you ever thought about getting into the body bag business? And I'm not joking or being facetious.
I never have.
Okay.
I never have.
I don't know. You got everything set up there. You might be able to. I mean,
funeral homes need body bags.
Death is consistent.
I never have thought about
Okay, let me ask you this. What does Lucas Fox do? Because you're a young man. I can see your shoulders are carrying, half the world. Keith's carrying the other half. But what does Lucas Fox do to unwind, to go have fun, or to recreation?
So I have a 4-month-old daughter, and my wife and I got married back in 22. And before my wife came into my life, my wife is a true blessing. I wish I could sit here and talk about her for like an hour, because her and her family have literally been a blessing to me in my life. But whatever. So before my wife came into my life, I lived for hunting and fishing. I could hunt and fish until I died. I mean, that's where I really released. And my dad bought a piece of property back in 2010, and that's my release. I have my wife and my daughter who are at home, and I love them dearly, and I spend every minute I can with them. And on the weekends, if I'm not traveling with my wife and my daughter, then I'm at the ranch, and that is my biggest decompress right there. I just, to
get away from it all.
I get out there and I'm in the country, and there's nobody bothering me, and I have my dogs with me, and sometimes I get the privilege of having my family with me, because it's not always convenient to pack up the baby and the wife and the housekeepers and everybody take them with you, but when I have them, it's also just a blessing. But going out to the ranch and just being able to just disconnect is really where I can find.
A couple of weeks ago, y'all hosted, I think, the majority of your employees at South Padre Island for an employee family fun day. Why would you do that? You don't need to do that.
The employees commit their life to Fox Packaging, and the least you can do for them is every now and then just give them a little something back.
That's beautiful.
And even when we have get-togethers on the property, I still don't feel like you really get to put your hair down. And so when I invite them out to the island, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, whatever you want, bring your kids, bring your family with you if you have family in town, because it's about you. It's not about us. We're gonna open up the tab, food and drinks, whatever y'all want. Some space on the beach. And we just let them have fun for a little bit. That
goes a long way with people. Well, it really does.
I will forever be grateful for what they commit to making Fox Packaging successful.
Do you bring breakfast tacos in the morning sometimes, Lucas?
Sometimes we do. Yes.
Shipley's Donuts?
That's a good man right there.
Yeah, Billy.
Hey, let me ask you,
some.
Who are some people, other than a Fox that works at Fox Packaging, who are some people, some of your floor people, supervisor, that you'd like to recognize right now or just say hi to?
Put me on the spot here. I'm gonna recognize my team, the people that I work with closely. So I got my whole operations staff: Pete Sanchez, Robert Trejo, Jeremy Farr, Juan Esquivel, Hugo Benavides, Ralph Garza, Lucy Bocanegra, and then my co-directors is Jen Doxey, Alex Salazar, and Brett Rockelman. Our owners Keith and Aaron Fox.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome that you are able to rattle their names off the top of your head, because
awesome.
It says they mean a lot to you. And so Fox Packaging, Fox Solutions, big time future. Big accolades to Kenneth Fox. Lainey Fox is your grandmother?
Elaine Fox.
Okay. Fox. Keith Fox, Craig Fox, may he rest in peace, Aaron Fox, and you and Noah. What a job you're doing. And, to have you and your operation based in McAllen, Texas, I think speaks volumes for not only you, but for McAllen, that we're able to provide the workforce, the necessary employees to go there and get the job done, that is going to be a big part of an operation that is recognized worldwide as a leader in the industry. And we just want to thank you for your time today, for coming in, and also to ask you this: is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you probably wanted to cover before we got started?
No, this has been awesome. It's hard to kind of encapsulate everything you want to talk about in a short period of time. I owe a huge amount of respect to my grandparents, forever will. I look forward to working with my family forever. And if you guys want to do this again, I look forward to doing this again with y'all in the
I
future.
can guarantee you we will, and maybe we'll get a set of headphones and a microphone on Keith Fox. Keith,
I'd like
Keith,
to hear that conversation. He's a little quiet over here in the corner, man. But
Fox Packaging. Hey, listen, we want to thank these gentlemen for coming in, give them a little bit of their time. We want to thank our sponsors, White Sands Marina Inn and Suites, Port Isabel, Texas. That is your vacation destination in Port Isabel, Texas. No matter what part of South Texas you're coming to visit, make your stay at White Sands Marina Inn and Suites. Ward Thomas, Majestic Studios. This is the place to cut your next album or your next hit single, Majestic Studios in McAllen, Texas. And, of course, Fred Rodriguez, the Texas Sportsman, recognized by the Texas Senate as the premier hunting and fishing guide in South Texas.
gotta have it. livinglargetheater@gmail.com, so you can reach out to us at Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Prime, and now on YouTube at the Living Large Theater Podcast. Reach out to us at 956-451-1633. Rate our podcast, share with a friend, leave us a comment, and more importantly, hit that subscribe button. Until the next episode, you keep living large, because you know we're living large.